What kind of economic systems are best at allowing us to exercise the fact that we are created in the image and likeness of God?
Now keep in mind that if you take tiny steps towards any goal, it's just a matter of when you're going to reach it.
Scarcity is the first lesson of economics. Now, the first lesson of politics is to forget the first lesson of economics.
If you don't provide real, actual value to people in exchange for the money that you're asking for in return, you will lose over time.
We can see the economy as a social web that God has created for people to serve each other with their work.
We have the Word of God that provides for us a foundation for knowledge, for truth, for beauty, for goodness, for dignity and value in human beings. We have the Word of God that provides for us things like this. Ready? Thou shalt not steal.
Ethics on the legitimacy of wealth and entrepreneurship individually. Secondly, postmillennial eschatology. That is, the kingdom of God expands across the earth before Jesus comes back in final judgment. And the link to get those two together is the idea of the pursuit of self-interest leading to widespread economic growth and social transformation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Christ in Capital, the show that wants to encourage you to love God, love neighbor, and build something. I'm the host, Dustin Johnson, and this episode is one in which I am traveling. I am on my way to the bank because at the end of every month, we had to deposit cash into the bank for my wife's business. And I do a lot of the back office kind of stuff, accounting and, managerial kind of stuff. So that's what I'm doing. But I thought I would get on here and, again, spew some of my thoughts. I don't have an interview this week. And next week, I will actually be on vacation, so there will not be an episode next week. But I wanted to get on and kind of talk to you guys about something. And I'm trying to stay consistent with the whole podcasting thing. So, and before I do that, I want to give a shout out to a couple podcasts that I think are really great podcasts. Some of them not necessarily in the subject matter or the realm of economics and business and things like that. But just ones where I've connected with people who run the podcast, and they're just awesome people, and they're really great hosts. Their shows are really good. So one of them, and I've been on their show a few times, is Despite Popular Belief. Go check them out. Awesome podcast about just lots of different things related to the biblical worldview and pop culture, and kind of ideas that we kind of take in as ideas that we've culturally developed, or we kind of have as a culture, and then pushing back against those and showing kind of the biblical side, the biblical view. And so the show is really awesome. Go and check them out. Another one is Women of the Table. They do a lot of stuff related to women's discipleship and just issues through a theological lens, but I think their voice is mainly geared towards women. But I listen to it, and it is really good. So go listen to them. They gave me the idea of doing like mini-sodes, which they started doing, and I'm going to start doing that as well. But yeah, go check them out. Really great content. And then another one that I think is really helpful in the realm of economics and business is Good Morning Liberty. Nate and Charlie are they're super funny. They are crazy smart as it relates to economics and business and just liberty in general. So go check them out. Even if you don't agree with some of the things they say, they're going to get you into the mindset of thinking liberty first in all areas of our lives. And they're not explicitly a Christian group or podcast, but I really recommend them. Recommend their podcast. Really great. So anyways, onward to the episode, I guess. I I was recently asked a question in a group setting that had me thinking, and it was a would you rather question. And the question was, the question was, would you rather be poor in the 1600s, or it was like poor 400 years ago, which is around the 1600s, or, no, I'm sorry, scratch that. Would you rather be rich in the 1600s or poor today? And a lot of people in the group, there was kind of a hesitancy, people thinking about it, but a lot of people in the group said they would rather be rich in the 1600s. And that really struck me as odd. Just like think about that. We're talking about the 1600s, right? No modern medicine. Transportation is travel is like an impossibility, essentially. I don't know. Just sit in that question and think about what you would say. I, for one, hands down, I would rather be poor today. And if you think about it, the threshold for poverty, the poor threshold, where in America, when you get kind of written down as a poor person, is like if you make $12,000 a year, $12,700 or something like that. And I'm like, like $12,700. That's not a lot of money, but think about all of the externalities that I have available to me here, right? I can, if I take $12,700 and break it down 365 days a year, that's like $30 something a day. I can go and get a couple meals with $10 a day, right, by myself at a fast food restaurant or somewhere. They're not going to be the best quality food, but at least it's something that'll keep me going. It's sustenance. And then I have money left over to spend on other things, like maybe a few over-the-counter medicines. If I have a headache, if I have a stomach ache, all that's available to me. In our society today, we have people are free enough and they have enough financial freedom to actually engage or build up nonprofit organizations and charities where I could go and actually get a meal if it came down to it. Our nation is so wealthy that it just struck me as odd that we would want to be rich in the 1600s. And think about it, 1600s, that's my history teacher is going to kill me. That's Shakespeare's time. Think about that. That's crazy. Just 100 years after the Protestant Reformation. So, I don't know. That just struck me as odd. I would definitely rather be poor in America today than rich in the 1600s. Yeah, if I was rich in the 1600s, I could get some food, but it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good food, and the chances that I'm going to get an illness or a sickness from the food that I eat back then is a lot greater than it is today, just because of modern technology and all of that. Like I said, the medicines that are available to me, I don't know. When people, maybe message me, christincapital@gmail.com. What would you choose? And what are kind of the ups and downs for both? Think about that. Email me, christincapital@gmail.com. So, I don't know. I'm still, you know, kind of in awe over that, because I thought it was a no-brainer. But anyways, another thing I want to talk about was, I keep seeing these things on Facebook, these like articles and videos where people are breaking down how much money Jeff Bezos has, and how much, like I saw an article the other day that says, today Jeff Bezos made $15 million in an hour, and then insinuating that money could be used for this. It could be used to give every homeless person, you know, however much money it is. And I don't know, those types of posts and those types of arguments just don't sit well with me, because people, I want to be graceful and give people the benefit of the doubt that they're just not, they don't understand what, like, finance. Jeff Bezos, his wealth, he's like the richest man in the world, $180 something billion or something like that. But his money is in Amazon stock. You know, if you think about it, Jeff Bezos does not have like a bank account with $183 billion in it. He just doesn't. He doesn't have that cash. If he wanted to go and pay for something that cost $183 billion, he could not do it. Let that sink in. If he wanted to go buy something that cost $183 billion, which I'm just throwing that out as an example, he couldn't do it. He doesn't have the liquidity to do it. He would have to liquidate Amazon to get the cash to buy it, buy whatever the product is. And so when people use these arguments where they're saying, you know, Jeff Bezos, you know, he earned this much money this week or today, it's like, come on, like, it's not, it's just, it's his stock, and yes, it's generating to his wealth, or it's contributing to his overall net worth. What about the days when he loses $20 billion? Because he does that just about as often as he does gain that much money. But you don't see those because it's not, you don't see those in the headlines and in those you know, instructional or teaching videos, because it doesn't fit the narrative. The narrative is that rich people are bad. You know, if you have you can't have use for that much money, whatever it is. You know, it's just, I ultimately think that it's greed. It's societal greed in general. Yes, Jeff Bezos could be greedy. 100%. He could be greedy. I think people estimate that he has, I don't know exactly how much. In 2017, I think he took a salary from his company for $81,000. $81,000 salary. Right? And then he gets other sort of, you know, liquid monetary compensation for his job, and it's probably around like $5 or $15 million or something like that, somewhere between there. So that's how much cash probably he has in a bank somewhere, is 5 or 15 million or something like that. And these are just articles that I've read, some research that I've done. I don't know exactly. So if he's got $15 million cash, that's compared to the 183 billion that everyone's talking about, that's minuscule. And so what you would have to do in order to get rid of, or in order to take Bezos' wealth and make him more generous, make him less greedy, is you'd have to get rid of 12% of Amazon, which is how much he owns. And that 12% of Amazon will take more value away from the general society than it would give if it was reallocated to other people, right? Amazon is providing a platform for small businesses to provide products at a cheap cost for their general societies, their communities and their localities. There's just so much that Amazon is providing and is doing well. It's putting that money to good use to provide products and services to our culture, our society, our world. And just to take that money and give it away where you don't know how useful that money is going to be, how much use it's going to generate or how much value it's going to generate. I mean, to me, it sounds like it's a no-brainer. Let Amazon be efficient with the money that it has. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode where we talked about how money, just because money is circulating in a society, does not create value for society. It doesn't mean that the society is flourishing. It doesn't mean that it's growing. The money that's in the society has to be actually providing value to people. So if we took Jeff Bezos' money and reallocated it across the general population, I hate to say it, but the majority of the population is going to go and buy a vacation, right? Or it's going to go towards something that's going to generate, a quick, a quick high, I guess, for lack of a better term. But it is ultimately predicated on taking from someone else, right? It's a broken window fallacy. We talked about it last time. It's predicated on taking it. That money is not the root of those transactions that ripple out from that are not predicated on a value creating service or product. It's predicated on taking from someone else. It's predicated on taking value away from one society and giving to the other, right? If you're unfamiliar with the broken window fallacy, go back and listen to the last episode. We kind of talk about that and dig into it. By the way, I made a mistake last time. Demand side economics doesn't have anything to do with Immanuel Kant. Kant is a philosopher. His name starts with a K, and what I meant was John Maynard Keynes. It's Keynesian economics. I'm sorry, I misspoke. The people who are listening to my podcast and now are not listening because I sound like an idiot, come back, please. Keynesian economics is just kind of the demand side. So go listen to that. But listen, if you're a Christian listening to this, do not be envious. Don't be covetous of your neighbor, right? Yes, Jeff Bezos can be greedy. He can be using his money in ways that we would not consider Christian or loving. But the solution to that is not take. It's not to steal from him. If he has this money, and we live in a free society, which let's kind of get rid of the idea that Bezos may be using some of his money to, get the upper hand with politicians. His money is being generated because he's provided value to someone else. His customers have freely exchanged their money for the product that he's providing or his company is providing. And so all of that money that he has is because he's provided value in which someone wanted what he had, his service or his product, more than they wanted the dollars that they gave up. And so think about it that way, right? Don't fall into the idea of this. Don't fall into thinking about his money as overwhelmingly, a monstrosity of wealth, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Don't think about it like that. Don't be jealous. Don't be envious, right? You should want that as well. I'm going to get in a little rocky territory or rough waters, I guess. Christians should want to be rich. We should want to be wealthy, okay? Ephesians 4, I think it's 18, says that Paul tells the church in Ephesus, if you are a thief, stop thieving and work hard so that you may have something to give to others, to serve others with. Work hard to provide value to someone. Trade with them. Build up your wealth so that you can be the person who cares for the orphan and for the widow. Don't think of Bezos' wealth as that greedy capitalist, right? Think of it as, look at the opportunity that I have, I can have to provide value to someone. Look at the opportunity that I have to build my wealth. And then go and, once you're wealthy, start up your own nonprofit that, delivers Bibles to the rest of the world, like to unreached peoples of the world, that translates the scriptures into, native or tribal tongues, whatever. You put the money to good use. Someone's going to have the money. Why don't you get it and give it, right? And people are going to say, see, you think that we should give our money away. Yes, but I don't think the mechanisms that we should put in place should be forced. It should not be predicated on force, right? Government should not be able to come in and take your stuff and give it to someone else. I'm going to have an episode on this later, but we're going to talk about incentives. The government does not have incentives to provide good value, good services. It doesn't have an incentive to reduce cost. It doesn't have accountability to really anyone other than the majority rule. It doesn't have accountability to the customers of the consumer of the money that they're giving out. It doesn't have that accountability. It has accountability to public sector unions, and it's accountable to its reelection. They've got to get reelected, right? So the best way we can think about economics and value and wealth is in the context of a free market. Free market. Okay? A free market. And we can get into what regulations we should have and what regulations we shouldn't and all that stuff. But the undergirding principle should be free. I am free to exchange my labor, my time, and whatever capital, physical capital that I have. Maybe I inherited it from my parents or whatever. I have the responsibility and the ability to use that freely. Okay? And this is what God told Adam to do in the garden. He told him to go fill the earth and subdue it. Take the raw materials, take the chaos and organize it and build upon it and mold it and shape it and form it into awesome products. I posted a video a while back. Jay Richards, he's a Catholic philosopher. He's a professor of some sort, but he's a really thoughtful guy. Obviously, I don't agree with his ideas on justification. But anyways, he had this illustration where he was like, look, microchips that we have in phones that make the phone a possibility is made out of sand. It's sand. That's forming and filling. That's subduing the earth. That's taking the materials that God has given us and being artists and being creative and making products and all of this stuff. We're supposed to image Him. He is a creator. He is a creative God. He is a innovative and artistic God. He makes beauty. So let's go out there and actually do that. If you're planning on starting your own business, or starting up a project where you're going to provide value to someone, just go and do it. Like, just take the first step. Just go and do it. When speaking of mine, my wife's business, which I'm here at the bank now, so I got to go. But we had no idea what we were doing when we started. She wanted to start an embroidery business, and I had been listening to a lot of people like Gary Vaynerchuk and, you know, a lot of these like inspirational guys. And so I was kind of like ready. I was chomping at the bit to like start something. And so she mentioned the idea that she wanted to start an embroidery business, and she's always been wanting to do that because she likes monogram stuff and, you know, all of that. And so, well, we were like, well, I mean, we don't know where to start, but we know we need a machine. And so we went down to the embroidery machine store, and they're real expensive, and we're like, get a little discouraged, but we're like, you know what, let's buy a really small one. Maybe we can upgrade later. It wasn't super cheap, but it wasn't, you know, we couldn't just not do it because we wanted to start this business. So we got that, and now a year and a half in, where we broke even with our original investment. So from here on out, all the profit that we get from the items that we bring in is going to be profit in our pockets. People are gonna be like, a year and a half, that's a long time. No, it's not. Just take the first step and do it. And not only will it give you a little bit of money, I think even more than that, it gets you fired up for actually like creating things and doing things. It gives you a purpose. I know me and my wife already have a purpose. We're Christians. We know what we're doing here in the world. We know who we are. We're God's image bearers, and we are called to fill and subdue the earth. And that's our task, to go and preach the gospel and then to fill and subdue the earth. But it gives you this like, yeah, I'm actually providing something. I'm creating something. I'm not just, you know, my evenings are not just sitting in front of the TV, flipping through my phone, you know, wasting time. I'm actually like providing value to someone. So I gotta go put this or deposit this check. So thank you guys for listening. Like I said, if you have any thoughts about that question, email me at christincapital@gmail.com, and maybe I'll read some of your responses on the next episode. So, and like I said, next week I'm not going to be here. I'm going out of town, so take the 21 episode challenge, go and listen to the past 21 episodes and get caught up, and we'll see you guys here on the next episode. Go like, subscribe. YouTube is a really good place to get us, to get Christ in Capital's content. Ring that notification bell so that you get notifications every time we put a new YouTube out, or a new video. And a website, new website's coming. Stay tuned. I'm also going to be selling t-shirts. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Get ready. All right, go out, go love God, love neighbor, and build something. Talk to you guys later.